So this is going to be about how to market your program. And we have a couple of people on this call that are experts in this area. One of which is Angela. She is the communications manager for Joint Initiatives. She is the one that puts together all of the newsletters that go out. She handles the website for JI. And she also does all of our flyers and that kind of thing. So she is an expert in that area. The second one is Claire Sanderson. She is the marketing manager for CPCD, Giving Children a Head Start. And the reason I asked her to be on here is because CPCD has developed a philosophy around reaching out to children and families, particularly those that are hardest to reach. And through a lot of trial and error, the organization has become pretty good at being able to find and reach out and enroll the most challenging families in terms of being able to find them. So she has some insights there that she's going to share. So let's move on. So I want to make sure that you first know about the resources that are available to you in this area. So obviously, I often say to you that the provider handbook is your friend. This has been developed up at a state level by experts that know how to do the things that we need to know. So next page, please. In the provider handbook, in the table of contents, under provider onboarding, okay, there is information about setting up your profile, and we're going to look at some of that. I want to make sure you have the mechanics down of how to do that before we talk about what makes a great profile. So next. So let's first talk about why your profile is important. So this is the information, often the only information that families see when they are making a decision as to who they are going to choose. So they want to know your values and your learning philosophy as an early care and education provider. They certainly want to know the programs that you're going to offer. If you're only offering part day and they need full day, they need to know that. If they're only looking for part day or half day, they need to know that you offer that. So all of that is very important as being available and in your profile. Many of them want to know, first of all, that you use a curriculum, and that some would like to know what curriculum you use. And just by putting in your profile, we use the Mother Goose curriculum or we use whatever it may be, that says to families, oh, okay, they're not just sitting my child in front of a television set all day. They actually have a curriculum that they are using. It gives families a peek at your facility through photos. It allows you to highlight your learning environment. And it's really, really important that you do that, that you show families their first impression needs to be that, oh, this looks like every other preschool classroom I have ever seen. And mostly on this call at this point are family child care teachers. So I'm mostly going to be talking to you. Um, and we all know that, and you probably have experienced that there are families there that could benefit from a family childcare environment, but they have misconceptions about what that might look like. And so we need to make sure that you're putting forward that your environment is every bit as rich and high quality as any other classroom environment or school environment. Cost to the family under above the UPK credit. That is actually required, and we're going to talk about that more in a few minutes. But families need to know that. you have all experienced, I am sure, families who have called you and said, so I'm only eligible for 15 hours, and you then tell them what the full day care is cost is going to be, and they say, I can't afford that. So it keeps you from having to have that uncomfortable conversation if you don't want to have it, which most people don't. But it also keeps the family from having to have that uncomfortable conversation. Staff qualifications and experience. Once again, you guys are all experienced. You have great qualifications. You need to make sure that you're letting families know what those qualifications are, so that they're like, oh man, this is a really highly qualified person. My child can learn a lot in this environment. If you have any special services that are offered, such as toilet training, et cetera, those kinds of things should be in your profile. Again, you're marketing yourself. Other special activities or characteristics that set you apart. Maybe you do a lot of learning in an outside environment, and that is something that you want people to know. So that might be something that you want to include in there because it may be something that's incredibly attractive to a family, but they did not know that that's what you do. Information about your accreditation and your quality rating and any special awards and certificates that you have. Tell people who you are and how good you are. I think that's really, really important. So brag about yourself and your center, your home, or your school. This is the opportunity for you to do that. And it may be your only opportunity prior to a family saying, yes, I want to tour with you. So that's the next piece of it. Okay, next. Um, so in the family handbook, I want you to know what the family is being told about how to select a provider. So the next page, the next two pages actually, are directly out of the family handbook. So things to consider as you select your top 10 preschools. So it talks about location, it talks about quality rating, it talks about universal preschool status, it talks about visiting the program, and it talks about the cost. So, and then the next page, oh no, I don't want to go to the next page yet. Sorry. Um, so this is straight out of the family handbook. So I think it's important for you to know the kinds of things that the family is being told that they should look for. So what must be included in your profile, straight from the family, just there. UPK providers list all costs associated with attending their program on their provider profile. This includes out-of-pocket costs to your family as well as fees throughout the year. Providers cannot charge any fees not listed on their profile and cannot charge more than families not participating in UPK. Consider the price option that works best for your family. So we have been bugging everybody to get this into their profiles. We're a little bit more successful than we have been, but it's still not in 100% of the profiles out there. So when you are including this, I'll get to you in a minute, Melanie. When you are including this in your profile, you go in under the financial program section, and in the text box marked additional payment options, you're going to put all of those fees in there. It is a requirement. You must do it. Melanie?
Okay, so I do a couple family involvement activities a year. They are outside of UPK hours, outside of UPK days. Um, I usually pay for the student, and then I tell families that a parent needs to attend and the parent needs to pay for their own admission to wherever we're going. Do I need to list that on my profile?
So when you are saying a parent needs to attend and they must pay for their own, does that include UPK students?
No, it would include, so I would pay for the UPK student, and then the parent would pay for themselves and any other family members that they might bring with them.
Okay, let me make the question a little clearer. I got that you're paying for the student, but if you are saying the student cannot come unless there is a family member and the family is enrolled in UPK, is that the case?
Well, that's the case because it would be on a day that's not a day that I normally teach. It's outside of my UPK hours, and I don't transport students anyway. So the families would need to be there,
Right.
or
And
an adult would need to be
yeah,
there.
so I understand that. But if it is an opportunity that includes UPK families, and for that child to participate, you're going to pay for them, but the parent would need to pay for themselves and would have to accompany the child, yes, you should put it on your profile.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on that particular piece before we move on to look at some profiles?
I have one, Noreen.
Sure.
Um, is it only family child care providers that are required to post these things, or is it everyone?
Everyone. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to look at I hope. So what do you guys see on your screen at this point?
How to
You
navigate.
you see browse participating UPK
Mhm.
Colorado providers?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. So if you have the ability to be able to pull this up without signing off of Zoom, great. If you don't, we will talk you through this. But I want you to see what families see when they are looking at your profile. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go to locations near me, and I'm going to put 80916, which is what I have asked you to do if you have the ability to be able to do this. I'm going to leave the method of transportation as driving. And hang on a second, let me get that out of the way. And then I'm going to add a child. So I've got to add a preschool 4-year-old. Okay. So this is what the family is doing to be able to browse. All right. So I'm done there. And now I'm going to submit. Okay. So then the family, in just a minute. Okay, the family now sees what is available in the 80916 area or close to that. Okay, and so what I want to do now is I want to go down specifically to CPCD at Bricker, and I'm going to let Claire talk through why they put on their profile what they did. So you can see the basic information is here. This is a Head Start grantee. The hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 3:30. Here's where it's located. And then financial assistance options available. Uh, and then I'm going to click on this because the parent is going to say, okay, I'm interested in that. Okay. And then this is what they're initially going to see.
And should we
So,
share, we didn't share your screen yet, Noreen, so they're not
oh,
seeing that.
um, I thought I was sharing my screen.
Oh, okay. So
That's why
I'll
I
share.
asked, what do
I
you
can see it.
see?
I can see it. We can see the screen. Yeah.
Yeah,
We can see it.
So it's you that can't see.
Yes.
And that means the recording isn't seeing it. And that's not a good thing.
And now it is, I believe, yes. So we,
Okay. Are you good?
yes.
Okay. All right. So,
Well, now I only see
yeah,
your,
no, I,
yeah.
I, I did something I shouldn't have done.
There you
Okay,
go. Okay.
let's do this. Okay. All right. So the first thing they're going to see Well, Claire,
Hmm.
talk through why you put on here what you did.
Okay, well, the first thing that for us that's a little annoying is that we cannot capitalize CPCD. So that is in the system. It's not something that we have that it's our I mean, we've tried numerous times. The state does not allow it for whatever reason. So hopefully that's not something that you guys will experience. We do photos, and these are general photos. They're not necessarily of the specific classroom that this is going to. We do that for safety reasons because we have a number of kids out and about that can't be located. So these are all kiddos that don't exist in this particular classroom. We try to do 8 or 9 10 photos. And these are photos that I just go into the classroom and take. So this is something you could do on your phones if we're talking about family childcare homes. Picture of yourself if you want to do that. Whatever makes it feel like the environment that a family's going to walk into. So that's why we have some in classrooms, some outside, some with teachers, some with food, some with. We try to do a whole experience with that, and granted and understand that we have more power behind that in terms of being able to get all of this information than you guys do. You don't have marketing teams, so that's a little bit, that's one of those things. But if you can take 20 minutes on a day and just with your phone, I mean, your phones at this point take beautiful pictures, just with your phone, take 20 to 30 photos and then upload those as long as, you don't have any issues with kiddos that can't be seen where they are. Then we talk about our programs in general. We do them in both English and Spanish because particularly in Bricker, but in most of our classrooms, we have bilingual staff and bilingual kids. And so it's important for us to have both of those up there. We talk a lot about our comprehensive services. That's what sets us apart. We obviously do not have to deal with the money situation. So that's a different situation for us than it is for you all. But we talk about what makes us quality, why we have the classroom staff we do, what our ratios are, our nurses, our behavioral health people. So we're selling ourselves. We're doing what we can to say, hey, you want to go with us. So obviously we have this note on here because we are a Head Start grantee that is required for us. Our contact information, this is directly to our enrollment leadership. Crystal, she is the head of our enrollment department, and we send families directly to her if they have questions. We talk about our programs offered 30 to 40 hours per week. And we do, we take our UPK money and then we combine it with other money in order to give those full day programs. And that is mostly where we're sitting across the board. We only have a few classrooms that are doing part day. The financial assistance programs, we do ask families that qualify for CCAP to apply for CCAP. Not that that matters right at this moment anyway. But again, everything in English and Spanish as much as we can. All of our programs are Monday through Thursday, and the times differ, but we, just for the sake of enrolling families at this point, put 8 to 3:30, and then as those times get published, we go back and update all of that. So that is the current for this classroom right now. But when we're just setting up profiles, because we have so many of them, we're just putting in our 7.5 hour chunks so families kind of know what they're going to get. All of our enrollment is done online. I don't know where any of you guys are out with that, but that's something that we've completely created and moved to an online system. We do have available enrollment in-house basically if need be, but for the most part, everything is online. It's done through English and Spanish because, again, the English and Spanish is important for us. And talking about, the pieces that you need. We cut this down a lot. We used to have 6 or 7 steps, and we really, really went through, what does a parent who's browsing need to know immediately in terms of checking eligibility, checking out classrooms, getting the lay of the land, all of those things. So we went down to the two pieces that have to be done in order to do this. And we cut this back a lot. We did a lot of information originally about, oh, we'll need all of this, da 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 da. And we went to, you know what? That is not what a parent needs to know at this point in time. So we're going to just go here and here. We talk about, I don't know why our language immersion is not available. I will have to investigate that.
It's because you're not a language immersion program. You are.
Okay. Sorry. I thought that meant, sorry, my bad. So, we talk about meals, all of the things, all of our stuff is customized to our classrooms and our families. So we put that in there. And I would assume with you guys, you do that as well. You do not force gluten on a child that does not have gluten. So our school-based approach, we have our curriculum, put your curriculum in there. We are able to and are contracted to provide special needs for multiple districts. And so our specialized support is in there as well. I mean, again, like if you can do feeding tubes or you can do those things, put them in there because that's important for families. I know that if I had a little guy that was struggling with some of that stuff, I would want to know that, that's something and or are willing to learn so that he could go there. English, Spanish, other, we have 18 languages. So it's a lot. We're not dependent on kiddos knowing how to be potty trained. So that's, and that's a big one for parents. I mean, parents ask us, it's one of the top 5 questions parents ask us is whether or not their kid has to be toilet trained. So that one's important. Like if you just ignore that one's important for parents for some reason. We also like parents to know that we go out of our way to provide native languages for families because we do have so many. We have 18 that we serve currently. I know that's a totally different ballgame for you guys because we're talking about a very big program versus childcare home programs. So, but if you do speak English and Spanish and you do both of those things to the families, like I would put that in there because it is Spanish families in particular are very, very concerned with safety and with knowing that people are going to be able to communicate with their kiddos. That's a really big deal for our Spanish families. And so we spend a lot of time focusing on that for those families, especially with we're a federally funded program and it feels to families often like that's not a safe space for them. And we do a lot of talking about how we do not, we are not required to ask if you are here legally and we don't report that. And so that's a big deal for Spanish families. So if you are serving Spanish families, put the safety in there. That's a really big deal. We do not list our staff members. We have 150 to 200 staff members out in the field and they flip all the time through classrooms. So this is Shanna. Shanna is the head of our child development program. We put her information in here as a staff member so that people know who is leading the 200 people that are out in the field and what that looks like for us. And also so they have somebody they can call and talk to. Like if they are very concerned about a specific situation, they can call and say, I need to know whether or not you can, and enrollment can answer all of these questions, but it's nice to have somebody there that they can also go onto the website and see side by side that this is in fact somebody that is leading this group of people. So those are kind of the basic, ley lines for us. I can talk a little bit more to a smaller situation, but know that I am very understanding and recognizing the fact that we are a massive program with a whole community relations department that can kind of manage this stuff, whereas you guys are 2 to 3 people in a home. One of the things I would say that we've started doing, which is kind of a game changer for us, just like within classrooms in particular and communications, is if you don't have a Canva site, if you don't have a Canva account, I would go in and it's Canva, canva.com. You can go in and create a free account and it's got templates upon templates upon templates of dropping in just photos and doing like, you can do Facebook page ads, you could do flyers, you can do pretty much anything, PowerPoints, video, whatever you want to do, you can create in Canva. And most of the people in our classrooms are able to use it and enjoy using it. And that's not what they're generally trained to do. So it's very user friendly. If you're looking for something, you're like, I don't even know where to get started. That is a great place to go to start like creating bright, colorful, exciting, kid-like things. You can also pull down stock photos, so they're not photos of your kids if that's a concern, and you can kind of just start creating these things that are conducive to what you want parents to feel when they see pictures of your location or any of that kind of stuff. And I'm happy to help in whatever way that's needed. I don't know if it is, but it's also that's a great thing that you can do and a great place to start. I don't know if it's on here, but we also have a video, a kind of like an overview video of what everybody in our classrooms receives, and what a classroom looks like, kind of the layout of that, again, produced in-house, and we have the ability to do that. But there are a lot of like young influencers in the world that seem to be able to edit video without any issue. So we can give you some of those options too, and kind of like how to go about doing that if you want to do an actual video of your home and what that looks like, and kids laughing.
So I have had some family educators that have said, I did this video, but I can't upload it because the state only, it's too big. And
Okay.
so, and I did ask at one point, what is the largest size of video that you can upload? And I haven't gotten an answer on that, but it is a consideration.
Yeah.
Angela, what is the next zip code that I went to? Because I can't.
80920.
Okay, so we're going to look at two family childcare educators now that have what I think are some. Let me see, which one did I go to?
Munchkin Land.
Yeah,
There you go.
here it is. Okay. All right, so we're going to go to Munchkin Land. So Sharon's on this call. Sharon, you've done a really nice job, in my opinion. But we'll get both Angela and Claire's thoughts on what, if anything, can or should be done differently. So
Thank you.
Sharon calls her childcare Munchkin Land Preschool and Childcare. Obviously, the address is here, the hours are here. Those are very specific. And now we're going to look at more information. So. Sharon has decided to use the feature that is available where you can actually request a tour. So in your profile, you can actually enable that feature if you want that to happen. But then you better be paying attention to your profile to make sure, or your portal to make sure that you're responding to the request a tour. There's nothing more frustrating to parents than saying, "Well, I requested a tour and nobody got back to me." So if you use that, please make sure that you have wherever it is that goes. And I've never requested a tour and haven't used this feature. Sharon, maybe you can tell us where this goes.
So I have only had one parent click on it, and I just get an email that says they've requested a tour,
Okay.
and here's their contact information. It's been a while, to be honest.
Okay, so if you decide to enable that feature, then if you make sure your email is up to date in your profile, and that you're obviously checking that email. So this is the first thing that families see when, in terms of photos, when they click on Sharon's profile. So this is a value-based statement, basically, and so that's a great way to go. She has other photos here, and the same kinds of things that Claire was talking about with regard to, showing outdoor space, indoor space, etc. Sharon obviously either takes kids to play with animals or has them herself.
I want goats. We don't
Okay,
have
there you
those.
go. There you go. So she's highlighting, and you can see here that she is highlighting the fact that, there is quote unquote instruction here. And it never ceases to amaze me um, how much help families need to understand what is high quality in early care and education. So making sure that you at least get them to a point where they're willing to come and talk with you because they see that their kiddos are learning and growing is really important in your photos. Um, I Claire, Angela, what do you think about the first photo here being that's cute. What do you think about the first photo here being the the values-based statement? You've got a lot of photos in here. That's good. What do you think about this?
I liked it. It set itself apart from a lot of the other profiles because I was on there browsing and looking, and some parents are very much they want their values where their child's going to spend their time to align with what they believe and what they want for their child. So I think speaking to values on the very first slide is a great way to start, especially if that's going to be something that you're going to be sharing with parents and they're going to come home and talk about that. And I think it's a terrific way to start off your program profile.
And that's the sign that they see when they walk into my play area.
Exactly. Yes. No, I like it a
So,
lot.
Claire?
Um, I like the colors, honestly.
Yes.
Like you're drawn straight into the
Mhm.
colors. It's obviously kid-like. You are obviously going to tell my child that they're kind and a leader. I mean, those are things that I want out of where I'm going to take my kiddo. So I think that this is great. Like if you don't want to start with with a photo of kids, this is beautiful. It's simple and it's easy to read and it's colorful and it brings you in and I think it's great.
Okay, great. So Sharon has extensive information about her program. So she has put some time and some thought into this and talks about, her learning philosophy and the kinds of centers that are included, the fact that she wants to build strong social emotional skills, etc. And so I think this is personally, I think this is a really great, inclusive, but short description of the services that Sharon offers. So this is something that if you're struggling with what it is you might want to say about your program and you're not happy with that, look at Sharon's profile and copy and paste. But in all seriousness, this is, and Sharon has put in there, she has 20 plus years of experience in early childhood education. So that's great. Okay, that's good for families to know. So good job on that. Sharon also has a website and she has made sure that, or a Facebook page, and she has made sure that that is up here for families to be able to click on and be able to look at for even more if they choose to do that. So sorry. So she is only offering a full-time program, so that is clear that that is on here. And so this is something, the seat availability is something that has been added this year. It basically tells families that are registering now that there's at least one seat available, but it's low availability. So they will. I mean, sometimes you look at a provider and there's no seats available, and you want to know that because then you're going to move on to find a provider where there are seats available. So, in the financial programs, she has talked about what it costs. and that's great. And the kinds of payment options that families can use. So I appreciate the fact that that the tuition gap is here, and she's been very clear around if you're only eligible for 15 hours, it'll cost this much, and if you're eligible for 30 hours, it'll cost this much. So there's no question for families at this point. The only thing that I would potentially add, if you have it, Sharon, is if you have a registration fee. I see the 350 due upon enrollment, but I would call that actually. I would want to make sure that families are aware of the fact that if they enroll and they are expected to pay this fee, and it is non-refundable if in fact it's non-refundable. That's the only part that I would clarify in there, just to make sure
That
that,
is a good point. Thank you.
yeah, just to make sure that families are aware of that. So Sharon has included the hours of operation, and so very, very clear. And again, she's got the cost again involved in here, which is great. She gives families a little bit of an idea of what the day will look like, which is great. I mean, the more information you can give to families without overwhelming them, the better, right? Um, and then here's how to enroll. So, I have a questionnaire. It's called All About My Child. And you're going to need to fill that out. And then we're going to make sure that, this is a good fit for you. So we'd like to do a tour first. And then we talk about the intent to enroll form and paying the yearly enrollment fee. Okay. I'd be careful about putting in there holding your spot. You are not allowed to charge a fee to hold a spot through UPK. Okay, so
Okay.
you need to take that language out of there, and
Okay.
and you can just stop at the yearly enrollment fee. Period. Okay,
Okay.
there is no paying a fee to hold a spot.
Correct.
Okay. Um, so she's gone through and she's put the various things that she offers. It's play-based. She uses Waldorf, and she uses another instructional approach. That's a drop-down menu, so it's a little bit difficult to put anything else in that piece. If there are other things that you think you want families to know, you're going to have to put them up in maybe the about the program piece to make sure that families are aware of that, or other program highlights. So because she's talked about outside activities, etc. So that's good. All right. So there's no specialized support. And so the languages spoken are English and ASL. So that's great to know that. She will support toilet learning, and she does not serve any additional ages. So, um, then as we said, we talk about the other program highlights, and she highlights the learn through play approach, isn't just go play, right? So that's cool for some families. Don't even really, they're not savvy enough about early childhood education to understand that play-based doesn't mean go play, right? It's meaningful and intentional. So it's good to make sure that families are understanding that. So I think it's very easy to read. And then Sharon has, she's made it personal. She talks about herself and her family, where she has her education, the things that she likes, and that she's a Shines Level 2 provider and currently working on Level 3 to 5, 20 years of experience. So again, in a family childcare situation, I think it is really, really important to be able to highlight who you are and the expertise that you have, because you're in some cases you're already starting behind the curve because because of some families not understanding the benefits of a family child care teacher. Claire, who, for those of you who don't know, is also my daughter. She was in family child care from her birth through up till kindergarten, and even after kindergarten for after school care. So I'm a huge advocate of family child care teachers. Um, so, Angela, Claire, do you have any other comments about Munchkin Land here? And does anybody else have any comments about it?
I don't think so. I noticed that since they had the link to a Facebook page, you might even be able to put, I don't know if there's an opportunity for multiple links or if you can add other hyperlinks, but the Canva program that Claire was talking about also lets you create a little presentation and create a shareable link to a video. So that might help you get around creating a little video and being too much to upload to the system. You could just put a link and then they could just watch it. It's just a public viewing link and it pops up, just like a website or something like that. So that might be an option there. But yeah, I like it a lot.
I would also say that, like, I don't mean this the way that it's going to come out, but um, parents in these situations, as we have experienced it, want to do as little research with as much confidence as they possibly can. And so anything that you can give, and parents do not want to talk to you. I mean, in the nicest possible way. Just they don't want to talk to you because they want to figure this out and they want to go and they want to find the right place and they want to apply and they want to be done.
Mhm.
So anything that you can give them that they can click on is big, because parents don't, there are not a ton of parents, especially like in our area right now, that are, especially with CCAP and the issues around that, that are like, that have the time to sit down and really like look through what a Shines level 2 person means, which is so important. It's so important, but they, especially first time parents, don't have the time for that. So anything that you can do that has a link, a clickable link that they can go in and see and get the vibe and get a feeling, that's what they're going to go off of first. So the links are the links to Facebook, the links to Canva, a YouTube video, whatever you can do, those are really important. And if you need resources and help on how to navigate some of that, like I'm even happy to take an hour on an evening and walk you through some of those things, because it is really important for parents to work through those kinds of things. Even the ones that are of a higher bracket in terms of income are still just looking to get this done as quickly as possible in a way that feels as good to them as possible. And so anything you can do around that is going to be beneficial and helpful for you, especially as parents get younger and younger into other millennial and Gen X generations. That's all they want to do is click on stuff. So again, like if somebody needs specific help around that and Angela is not available, I'm happy to help you guys with some of that stuff as well, just to make it easier and make it and help you to understand how to use them, because they're really, really powerful tools that will just make you still make you look like you're a family, and that's what's important, but also you've got this extra level of marketing to that makes it feel rounded out and that kind of thing. So
Thanks, Claire.
yeah.
So we have one more profile to look at. I will assure you that the rest of the slides are just awareness, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on those, but it's the profiles that we're actually focusing in on at this point. I need the other zip code. The next.
80911.
Thank you.
Grandma's house.
Right. I remember now. Okay. So Grandma's house is kind of unique in the way they approach things. So as you can see, they only do Monday through Wednesday, 8 to 4, and then Thursday, 8 to 3. They do not do Fridays. So they are not a full-time 10-hour a day provider. So they're a little bit more specialized, if you will. So um, they are so this is two women who have come together and have this is really more of an arts-based program. Okay. So as she says here, we are a performing arts preschool. So their photos are the next ones that they have are the two teachers that they have. And then once again, they have put some photos in here about what they're doing in terms of learning for children, and some of the kids that they have, some of the activities that they're doing. So this shows off the environment um, a bit, and um, this is kind of funny. One of the outdoor activities that they did. Okay, and now they have actually put a flyer in here about the fact that they actually do performances. So developmentally appropriate curriculum, play-based learning, outdoor play, etc. And they have put in here in this particular one their website. So those are the photos that they have chosen. They make it clear that they're a performing arts school, that they aim to prepare kids for kindergarten through singing, dancing, and drama. And there's going to be 4 performances throughout the 39 week school year. So they obviously do not operate over the summer. So they're a different type of program, but it's still a family childcare teacher. They have I think a large license. Um, so as you can see, the contact is there. They've got the website. So to Claire's point, people can just click on that and learn more about the actual provider. So they're offering full time, they're offering half day, they're at AM and PM. And they have seats available in all of those, but probably only one seat in each at this point. Um, so they've talked about their financial assistance programs. Again, they have put the tuition in there. We greatly appreciate that. And again, they've made it clear what their hours are, and that's really important because if a family really needs 5 days a week, 10 hours a day, this is not the place for them, right? Um, so how to enroll. So, hey, the handbook is on our website, and we want you to read every page of the handbook. Okay, that's clear. They've made it clear that that's an expectation of families as they're considering their program. And then they also want a tour, and then you complete the enrollment paperwork. So once again, they have talked about their instructional approach, including having clicked art-based. No specialized support. They only speak English. They do not do toilet learning. They also take toddlers. So it's not just 4-year-olds. And incorporating performing arts into the curriculum. Children will enjoy learning through dancing, singing, and acting. We will have a few little performances throughout the year, as well as a larger end of the year performance. Then they have put pictures of the two of them and talk about what their qualifications are. So this is simpler, but still effective, right? So, Angela, Claire, what thoughts do you have on this profile?
Yeah, I liked their use of the flyer in there as an extra picture. I thought that was really kind of a creative way to get a little more information in front of people.
They are leaning into what they do.
Yes, exactly.
And that's big.
Mhm.
If there's something, I mean, I mean, obviously you're gonna you're going to be like performing arts preschool. Sure, that's exactly what I want. But, that's not what most parents are looking for. So if a parent is clicking on 80911 and they're like, I only want a part-time thing for my kid to get socialization, like, what a great thing to do. What a cool, different, totally unusual experience for a child to have the opportunity to do at 3. And dang, did they lean into that? They did a great job. The
Yeah.
whole thing, this was probably created on Canva. The whole thing is great. I mean, they did a great job in setting themselves apart and being like, this is what we do, and this is how we do it. So I mean, I think that's pretty amazing. They did a great job.
Does anybody on the call have any other thoughts about this or any questions? You can see why I chose this one as the third one because it's different from, it's still a family child care teacher, but it's different and their philosophy is different and what they're doing is different. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing this and we're going to go back to, Angela is going to go back to the previous slideshow. Okay. So, and Angela, do you want to talk about this slide since you developed it?
Sure. We've actually talked about quite a few of these things on here. Your first picture on your profile being probably the most important. So whether that's a value statement or a picture of your program or children, whatever you decide that you want on there. And yeah, taking good photos. If you're not comfortable taking pictures of kids, just do it of the centers, just do it of the toys and the places that they're going to be, your yard, your playground, things like that. And then perhaps maybe a collage of your staff. And then the third point, if you have a message or philosophy, we talked a little bit about how to create that. Yeah, I would definitely be available to help providers out. I was even thinking maybe I should just create a little training and present that sometime, or just create a little something that's shareable for people to just watch sometime. And then the last thing that I thought about is just having good grammar and punctuation, have a couple people read your profile for clarity and tone and language. If you're educating children and there's spelling mistakes, people are going to go, so I'm just really huge on grammar and punctuation. It doesn't have to be, a textbook, but just make sure it represents your tone, the language, welcoming. If you're more straightforward, they're going to get a tone from your language. So that's just really, really important. So those were the 4 things that I thought about as I was browsing providers, which I'd never really done before. So this was an eye opener for me as well. And I was kind of like, oh, I didn't know that thing that program could do that. And I did notice that usually when you have the financial piece in your profile or assistance piece, that's going to pop up in that very first section, even as people are just scrolling through the list of providers that might come up in their zip code. So that financial assistance piece is going to just climb right to the top if you offer that. So that's really, I think, these days is important for parents. So, and we have to keep in mind that, it's not everybody looking just for childcare. Some people are just looking for a great program for their kids. Maybe they don't work and they just want a great program for their kids, and universal preschool is a benefit to them. So we have all kinds of parents looking for everything from full-time care, different hours, to just something that meets their needs for some socialization and learning for their child. So that's what I had for this.
Okay. Claire, do you have anything to add in terms of quick and easy ways to spice up your profile?
Canva. Honestly, it's such a tool that's so helpful. And again, like, it can be daunting looking at it, especially if this is not your thing. And so again, like, I am happy to work with anybody that wants to learn it because it is such a powerful tool. It will become something that you can use for handbooks, forms, posters, whatever you want to do. And it's so easy. Like you don't have to work in some of the Word and PowerPoint and those sorts of things. And it's just a really nice way to help you kind of streamline everything, so that you don't have to recreate things all the time. So I mean, I'm happy to help anybody that wants to help, in terms of that. And I'm sure we can find some tutorial resources as well that can be sent out through JI if people are interested. But
Yeah,
And
it's a great.
it holds all your things in one place.
yeah,
You can
you never have
sort
to
things by
re-upload. It's all
by
there.
by folder. I use it exclusively for JI. I used to do, the Adobe and tried Photoshop and Creative Suite. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. I have things to do. Canva is professional and it's user friendly and I love it. So, but it's kind of all about your profile and even just some great pictures from your phone. I think you'll see that we have the whole range of what's on these profiles that will draw people in. So I think a children's smile is worth 1,000 words. So I would just kind of go with what you can do at the time, and then just add to it. You can always update your profile as you have
Yeah,
more photos available.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Another thing, just one other thought. If you've got access to a teenager, they know how to do all of this. Like they know how to do the video and edit it on their phone and do the whole, whatever. If you've got access to a teenager or a young 20 something, this is their life. So it's also a really easy way to do it. If you are just like, I don't want to do all this, but here are my 10 photos and create me a video that tells you how cool I am or whatever it is, that they can do it really, really quickly. So I would lean into whatever teenager because it will be beneficial for you.
Thank you both. I appreciate it. I don't want this to run too much longer, unless you want it to. So let's get through the rest of these slides really quickly. Keep going. I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of the fact that in the provider handbook, there are all sorts of marketing resources. Some of these may be applicable to you, some may not. But it is there, and there's like 5, 6, 7 pages of marketing resources that have all been put together. Thank you, Angie. That have all been put together by the state. Um, Things that you can click on and use should you choose to. Obviously, your profile is not the only way to market yourself. You all know because you did it before UPK. If you're also in bridge care as a provider, a lot of what you put on UPK, you can also use in your bridge care profile. They're not that different because this is in bridge care too. So you should make sure that if you're a part of bridge care, which I think licensed providers are, then that you actually look at that profile and make sure that you're doing the same kinds of things there. Not everybody has a 4-year-old and are going to be looking at UPK. You can stop sharing if you'd like.
Okay.
And are going to be looking at UPK. So you want to pay attention to your bridge care profile also. Those marketing resources are there. So I would suggest if you have never looked at those in the provider handbook that you at least take a quick look, particularly if you feel like you're struggling with getting finding families, that you take a look at that. So with that, let's stop here and see what questions or comments you have. Has this been helpful at all? All right.
I think it has,
I'm
just
sorry, go ahead.
because I think it has, because I think I think it's really hard for us to realize that everybody really has moved into the digital age. And
It's
so that
hard.
we really need to think things through that way, because that's what we're trying to attract is people that are doing these. So
Yeah,
it's
it's a hard
important.
transition. It really is. And I mean, we probably honestly wouldn't be there yet if it hadn't been for COVID. Like, we had no other choice because our program was so big. So it is super hard. It's hard to have to move towards that direction. And it's hard to figure out what parents are I mean, because now parents live on the internet. And so it is hard. It's a hard transition. And we're still kind of all in that, trying to figure out how to make it as efficient and quick for parents as possible, but also not lose the personal approach to it, especially you guys as family childcare homes. That's important. That's an important thing. Clearly, I was in one for, my whole childhood. So it's an important thing for parents that they feel connected to you as well, and especially if they're going to pay for the services, that's important for them. So again, anything that you need help with in terms of just even talking it through or ideas or any of that stuff, obviously you now know who I'm related to, so you can get access to me at any time. I'm happy to help. What you guys do is so important, so important. And it is hard. It's hard to move into this new thing. It really, really is. And again, we wouldn't be there if it weren't for COVID. So it's a tough one. But there are people to help. There are people that are willing to help if you want that. And so outside of whatever time you have, I'm happy to come help you or walk you through some stuff or whatever that is. And I know Angie is too. Whatever you guys need, just reach out, because people are here to help if that's what you want to do. I'm happy to donate time and do whatever you need for that, because you guys are really important. And know that you're really important. And even us big providers that are surviving on our own stuff and federal funds and all of that other stuff, we know how important you are too. So reach out, ask for help. I'm happy to lend any time you need for any of that kind of stuff.
Thank you. Thanks, Claire. I appreciate that. And I would just make one other suggestion if you're unsure as to the effectiveness of your profile. Talk to somebody that you know that has a young child and ask them to look at it. And so as they're looking for a parent that has a young child, say, what am I missing here that you would want to know if you were going through and looking at this, and find out if you're missing something. Find out whether your photos are eye-catching. Find out whether the first one that you have on there is actually going to get the family to look further. And so, I mean, we always found that the very best way to figure out whether what we're doing is the right thing to do for parents is to ask them. So it makes sense to think about that. I mean, what's going to appeal to me may not appeal to to a 25-year-old. So that's always a way to get a reality check too. So. All right. Any other questions or comments at this point? All right. The slides and the recording will be up on the JI provider site for you to access again, should you choose to do that. And just remember, as Claire said, you look at, there are providers out there, school districts, CPCD, et cetera, that are not meant to and are not full day providers, right? They're not meant to specifically support families to go to work and go to school for 5 days a week, 10 or 11 hours a day. You are those people in most cases. And so that's what a mixed delivery system is all about. So let's make sure that, that parents know when they go to your profile that that's who you are and that that's what you're offering, and that their child is going to be safe and is going to be learning. So anything, as Claire said, anything we can do to help. All right, Angela, will you stop the recording, please?